Hello and welcome to Part-Time Nomad podcast. On this episode, I'm meeting up with a Norwegian adventure rider, Thomas Hansen. He also makes really cool videos on YouTube, so make sure to check him out. As Black Friday is really close, so on this episode, we're going to talk about gadgets and gear, what we use for our motorcycles or camping. So stay with us and let's start the episode. I don't know if we need to say hello to each other because we already chatted for a little while. This is Thomas. If you don't follow him, you can follow him on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
And where else they can find you, Thomas?
That is probably it. I don't
That's
have so many. I'm not so big on social
yeah.
media because it takes too much time. But Instagram and YouTube is where I'm putting up content.
Okay, cool. So today we're talking about gadgets, and but first, before we start that, basically Thomas, he's a adventure rider. He loves camping the same as me, yeah. And he makes really cool videos. You like your video quality is really great. Like I really enjoy watching them. And he's also a great guy. We met up in Auduro Scout 1 year
Yeah.
ago. And yeah, I thought, like some dude from Norway over and he's actually like so cool to hang out. So yeah.
Yeah, it was quite that Auduro Scout event was kind of shifted my perspective on stuff because like Ole Marius was the one who invited us and coming over there to just meet you guys and just be part of that culture and the way you are doing stuff. It was such an amazing weekend. And not only that, but you get so many new friends as well. Not only the Auduro team, but also all the participants that was there. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I feel like I'm in debt to you for all the things you managed to do for us just by being yourself and inviting us over there. So I think it's been it's changed my life in a better way, to be honest,
Yeah,
when it comes to group riding. And
it's a cool event. Like this year, it was even like it was bigger. Like last year was quite tiny, quite small, but this year it was
yeah.
even bigger. And I think all thanks goes to Richard, who's like all into this, and he's doing all
Yeah.
like most of the hardest work. And we all like the rest of us are just helping out basically. And yeah,
Yeah,
so
but still,
next year, hopefully we'll meet in person
yeah,
again. Like
there's a lot of thing happening, but of course we are always putting Auduro on the calendar, and we try
yeah,
to put that in so we have it. This year, of course, I had to go to work, and that is typical. But
yeah.
I had a chat with both Runa Roll from Moscow Moto and Robert that was there, and they had such a great time.
What have you done this year? Like we met a year ago, so
My year has been full of surprises, to be honest. It's always like at the end of the year, like now, I'm always sitting down in my office and I try to evaluate what the year has been like, what has worked, what I wanted to focus on, because I always want to kind of take it a step forward, trying to expand myself or become a better storyteller or whatnot. And I always plan for next year, and I put down maybe 10 or 20 plans, and most of them doesn't work out. So it started out with a great season in Sweden where we met up at the Moscow thing, and we were just together, a bunch of friends having a good time, trying to see if we can do something more for the adventure scene here in the Nordic countries. We learned a lot from Arturo. And and right after that, it was my main vacation, and I went to a trip out to the northern part of Norway. It was either going down south in Europe, but there was a lot of bad weather in Europe with flooding and a lot of rain and stuff. And
yeah.
it was so far to travel to just get a couple of days down there. I figured out, no, forget it. I'm going up north again. I'm going up, and my brother lives up north, and so I went for a trip to Lofoten, and it was also kind of changing my perspective on things, finding the adventure back in me, because it's been so many events, it's been so much video work, and it's been so much I have kind of forgot a little bit about being an adventurer, just spending time on the road and enjoying that process as well. And then everything just happens at the same time with the events, work, family stuff, and yeah, it's been a good year, but a busy year.
Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds good, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
like and like exploring your own country. Sometimes it's like you can even find places and see things that you like, like
yeah.
usually like adventure sounds like you're going somewhere else. And but then exploring like Norway is beautiful country and Lofoten islands. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, it's mind blowing how beautiful it is. But I think that is a really good point you are on there, because if you look online today with all the discussions on forums or on Facebook or whatnot, everybody have an impression that to be an adventurer you need to travel the world, or you need to go to a really really remote area.
yeah,
And I do understand that, because riding around in your own country is it's not far from civilization. You really don't have a, how to say it, it's really, you really don't smell the fear of being completely abandoned in a way. So I
yeah,
do understand that people holds it against you that you need to travel the world to be a true adventurer. But for me, it's more like when you have a family life, you have work, you have commitments, and you have all the other stuff going
yeah.
on. Just sitting on your bike for 1 hour or 2 hours and get to a remote area and put up your tent is more than good enough.
Yeah.
People don't listen to the people online. Just go for your adventure. It's your life. Don't care what other people think. And I try to be a little bit of voice of that, because I'm stricted because of work, family, and all that stuff. I can't travel the world. I wish I could, but I can't, not yet either, right? And so I think people need to relax a little bit more, just enjoy, go out there, feel the air, feel the breeze, get the rain. And yeah.
And I think, yeah, like going for adventure, like if you only have to travel for a couple of hours or hour, then you have more time for the adventure itself as well.
Yeah.
For me, like when I go on some trips, like somewhere like now, I recently was in Romania and I returned home and I'm like, I feel the joy again in riding back home. Basically, like
Yeah.
when you're riding only at home, like when you're like in your local area and you kind of get bored of the places, everything, and it's just like it's really hard to find the adventure somehow. Like,
Mm.
but then when you go away and when you come back and you're like, oh, sand and like you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
forests amazing, and it's like the roads are different and the off-road is different, so yeah, it's just you find the enjoyment back home again.
Yeah, that is a really good point as well, because I've the small travels I've done inside Europe has been like every time you come back to Norway, you in Norway there's a certain smell. It's like the pine trees and the forest, and it just feels clean. The air is in, and every time I come back home, I just like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is it. This is really
This is
amazing. And
good.
like you say, you just forget how beautiful it is because you get
Yeah,
so used to it.
that's the
But
thing,
I
like
don't, yeah,
anywhere, basically anywhere where you live, like you just get used to things and it's just
yeah.
need to change
And I
around.
think also that when you travel at home, it's much easier to kind of go to that cave or to that town that is kind of off the map, or you can go to those small places that you don't find on Instagram or whatnot. But when you go through certain countries, you kind of feel like you need to experience all the highlights before you get
Yeah.
back home. You're in a rush to explore things. You don't take the same time to enjoy everything. So it's, you can do both, but you don't have to live up to the hype online that you need to be a world traveler to be a proper adventurer. It's just get out on the bike, enjoy life, and just have a good time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just, like it's really hard for me, like for me personally, like when I travel somewhere, it's really hard to slow down. Basically, you're kind of in a like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, I have to do certain parts of that, or basically you have to see things, and you're like, and then you don't really slow down, and you don't have the ability to explore like the local, maybe not so popular places, and like just the culture. Sometimes you're just like
Yeah.
rushing through places, and yeah, but it's a skill. I think you have to like it's a skill to learn for the
Yeah,
future.
you need to learn to slow down in a way. And I think part of the reason why I film so much is because I film, because I want to make story. I also stop and take the time to explore people, because there can be a highlight for the movie there, or
Yeah.
you go into another focus mode when you're out on the road, and you know that you've tried to find a nice camp because it can look good on camera. Yes, of course, here in Norway we have the right to roam, so you can probably pitch your tent or your hammock everywhere, but still, for video, you kind of want that view and you want that end of the day and whatnot. You're trying to build a kind of little atmospheric thing. So, and that makes you wander around in a different mindset. You are exploring more of all that local stuff. You're not so into rushing from A to B. You need to go there, or you need to travel this far to kind of be sure that you can explore all the country before you finish with your vacation. Or
How is it for you? Basically, like, do you think does it help for your adventure to find the prettiest spot for camping? Like, because for me, like, sometimes I feel like I'm kind of not restricted, but I'm like looking for places which gonna look good in the pictures, and like when
yeah,
looking for a camp spot, not because it's like the coziest and warmest place, or like, but you're looking for the prettiest place where to camp, basically.
yeah, I think it's a dual thing. Your mindset is set for looking for a certain spot or a
Yeah.
certain look, or you're getting the sun or sunset or sunrise. But sometimes it's like you're just sick and tired of the day. You have mood swings or whatnot, and you just want to stop, get a proper eat, and just set up your camp, and you don't care about it. But
Yeah.
you're looking for you're looking for it, but you have to settle for less in most cases. And I think that makes the adventurer feel more like an adventure because you are still at home. It's not that far from civilization. You can always book a cabin or a hotel or whatnot because you are living so close to different cities. But I do think that it has changed the way I travel in a positive way, without a doubt. Yeah.
Cool, 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 cool. So I think we can start to talk about the gadgets.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
gadgets.
Yeah.
Like,
I love gadgets. Yeah.
we're all like tough adventure riders, and we ride bikes, and but we still kind of we have our inner geeks that want those
Yeah.
gadgets. Like for me personally, like I'm a real gadget man. Like I really love looking at new things and like testing them out, and yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
Even though like you can ride just a stock bike and like don't do anything to it and you'll be still fine, but I know that, but still I love those gadgets. And I think, yeah, we can start to talk about the gadgets, and we're gonna
Yeah.
do it basically like in three sets of things. I sent you already that beforehand, and basically, but it's basically gadgets or gear that we can't live without. That will be the first one. And then we're going to
Yeah.
talk about the nice to have gadgets. And then things which would be probably overrated, what we think could be overrated or what we don't need. And I think before we start talking, I think we need to say that this is our personal opinion. And anyone else who has different opinion, you're more than welcome to argue with us in
Yeah.
the comments. Yeah.
Without a doubt. And this is always something that wakes the emotions in people. The same
Yeah,
with tires on bikes and what oil is correct. It's always kind of like the things you are bashing about. But yeah,
do you have like WhatsApp chats in Norway, like for
yeah.
adventure communities? Yeah, we have like, I don't know, like 10 or 15 WhatsApp chats. And as soon as the tire thing rolls in, like oils, it just goes
Uh,
crazy. Yeah.
but I think it's the one thing that and that's also something that also impressed me a lot, how important it has become in today's society to win a discussion. Instead, my grandfather always told me that there's a reason why you have two ears and one mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak. And but on social media today, the discussions is always about trying to win with your arguments, so you kind of lose out on stuff. But
Yeah.
it's also natural of us, because we really want, when you are passionate about something, when you are passionate about a tire or an engine oil or a gadget that you really like, you want other people to be just as convinced as you. So you
Yeah.
kind of become those religious fanatics that really, you need to try this. And I think that is, yeah, really good. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, so yeah, I have had this in the past as well that I'm like really passionate about something and like I tell someone and it's like
Yeah.
doesn't like it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
how
And
is
I'm a really stubborn guy, and I really hate to not be correct. And
it?
sometimes I'm really convinced that I have the right answer for everything. And I remember now this summer, I went up to my little brother, and he kind of pointed out that I was part of the problem. And I really didn't accept that. I really didn't want to accept that. But after a couple of months, when it kind of settled in and I did understand I was wrong, it just like, damn it. It was really hard to admit for yourself that you were wrong. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can dive in. We can dive in, and do you want to go first with
Uh,
your
we
must-have
should
gadgets?
must have gear
Yeah,
for
must-have
adventure
gear or
riding.
gadgets, or basically like anything what you use for motorcycle adventures or camping, like anything, or can be basically anything. Like,
There are so much. For me, it's absolutely a camera.
yeah,
For me, my personal thing that there's a must have is a camera to just capture those moments, because I travel a lot alone. And for me, a camera is kind of like when I can't bring a friend, I have a camera, so I kind of share that moment of joy or trouble or what it is through the camera, or in a way, either in picture or in video. And I think that is for me an absolute must have, a camera.
yeah,
That's
okay.
one of it.
I think I just had an idea. We could do it that you name one and I name another one, and then we go like one
Yeah.
by one with these must have, and then do the same with the rest of them. So I think for
Perfect.
me, like the best gadget is my active tab, like the tablet thing for the
Yeah.
navigation, like the Android. I think it's Samsung Active Tab 3 or something like that. It just
Yeah, that's quite
helps me
popular.
with
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I think it's like there's another option. I think you use the other option. Yeah.
Yeah, the torque racing one from DMD2.
Oh, there's another one. I think like there's like
The carp eater, you think?
yeah, Carpete and
Yeah.
and that basically helps me with whilst you're riding. It's just so much easier to see the map, and
Hmm.
if you add the rally buttons, like
Oh
the
yeah, the
buttons
controller on
with
the.
the controller toggle. I had like on my KTM 690, I had just the buttons. It was good, but then I bought the Tenere now, and it came with basically I bought a used Tenere, and it came already with the buttons with the toggle,
Hmm.
and it's just so easy to browse the map, and you don't have to have a route or anything planned. You can
Mm.
go zoom in, zoom out, and you can check the map, and especially the screen, if it's big enough, you can see like far enough and basically plan on the go. And the
Yeah.
thing I do quite a lot, I just wander around, especially like in a local, like i- riding locally, I just wander around, or like if I'm putting a route together for some event or like whatever, or for myself, it's just so much easier that you can like do everything with the map whilst you're riding. You don't have to stop and take your gloves off, and yeah. So I
Yeah,
think
oh yeah, I
that
completely
was a
understand.
game.
I've been a Garmin guy for many years, and I thought I didn't need that much, because Robert, Nomad Sweden, has
Yeah.
been kind of been a huge fan of the Android-based stuff with different apps and whatnot. And I think I've tried most of the apps online, and I never kind of felt right at home with them, because it was on an iPhone screen or an Android screen, and it was too small, and the zoom levels wasn't correct. But I think it comes down to how you ride and how you use the map and navigation. And I was when I was out riding this year, I tried to write a bullet list of what I actually use the navigational system for. And the way you explore the map with the joystick, of course, but
Yeah.
still also the way you plan ahead. When I look at the map and I see what turns that coming up, you see a serpentine road, you know that you kind of go into that lean into angle. You kind of you kind of be a little bit more aware of what's coming, and then you just looking through to find the gravel roads, or is this a dead end, or can I go to this road and see what's there. So for me, having a good navigational system is just as much being a part of exploring unknown roads, not
Yeah.
just passing, but look at all the small roads that you're discovering. So for me, also a navigation system, but Is it a must-have?
It isn't. It isn't. Yeah, it
Yeah,
probably
you understand what I
the
say?
must
Yeah.
have. Yeah, yeah, like it depends how you use it. Like if you use
Yeah.
to wander around or make like put routes together for other people, then
Mm.
yes. But if you're just following a GPX track, you can do it with your phone. Like don't use your own phone, just use another like cheap phone on
Yeah.
your yeah, yeah,
Don't
because
use your iPhone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't use your iPhone off-roading. Like just you will lose
No.
your camera basically. And yes,
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's valuable because that's one of the way you travel. It's a must-have, and for the way I travel as well, it's become much more a must-have. I do understand that a lot of people don't need it because they really don't travel in that way. But for me and my travels, it's absolutely a must-have. I agree with you on that.
yeah. I think like talking about must-have things. Like must-have. I would say like these are the must-have things for me or for you
Yeah.
personally. And like there is no must-have things except the motorcycle to do the must like to ride motorbike
Yeah, yeah.
road. Like you just need the bike.
But I think it puts a better perspective for us
Yeah,
as well if we ask, is it a must-have? Because it kind of makes you realize, okay, maybe I feel like it's a must-have, and it's
yeah.
probably not. And I have another one on the list actually, is that is absolutely must-have. But I think that is more because my location is where it is, and that is a heated jacket. That is without a doubt the most important and valuable gear I've ever bought. It's absolutely a must have in the Nordic countries.
Is it heated in the sleeves as well?
Yeah, in the sleeves and in the neck and the chest and the back. And it's just, you can run, because here on the west coast of Norway, there's a lot of tunnels
Yeah.
that can be really cold. And you're out in the summer, spring, and then you go into the cold. And if you don't have layers, you risk getting really cold for a couple of minutes and then you're out in the heat again. And if you go over the mountain passes, it can be really low temperatures as well. And just pull in that jacket and put up the heat, go over it, and go down in the valleys again. It has put the comfort level in riding so much higher. And I don't go on any adventure without it. Of course, if I could go down south to Italy or the Alps or whatnot, I would probably leave it
Still,
at home.
it can get
Yeah.
cold up there, like somewhere in the mountains, it still can get cold.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, what sort of brand do you use for your jacket?
I have both from Venture Heat, that is an American company. I
Yeah,
don't think them sell it in Europe, but I also have the heated jacket from Moscow Moto. But that is also a puff jacket, so it's insulated like Primaloft, so it's a little bit warmer. So in the summertime, the Venture Heat one is more like a thin layer, so it just feels like a wind protector, not a jacket in itself in a way.
yeah. Because I have a heated vest, what that I use all
Yeah.
the time, but I never use the heating option for that vest. It just
Oh
really
no.
it has like a foil inside.
Yeah.
It's like it
Heats you.
keeps the
Yeah.
heat in, and it's just like really. It feels really warm in that jacket, but
Mm.
it's such a hassle because you have to use a power bank. And
Oh, you don't have it connected to the bike.
yeah, you have to use a power bank, and it's just
Ah, okay.
it's so difficult to not difficult. It's just such a pain
Oh
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, put it in and plug it in, and yeah. So I always use it, but I never like I have used it like 3 or 4 times basically
Yeah.
with heating on, and the rest of it was just using it as a normal vest. And but I really like it. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good. It's kind of like you find those things that just is imperative to having a
Yeah.
great time. Yeah.
So
And yeah.
there's one for from me. Basically, that is waterproof socks from Sealskins. I think
Yeah.
Oxford and similar brands do the same thing, but I found them like many years ago whilst I was cycling in London, and they're amazing. Basically, you can step into a bath and your feet will be dry. And I use them in a combination of like just normal motocross boots,
Hmm.
boots, and I had like Gore-Tex boots in the past, and they just when they get wet,
Oh
they
yeah.
stay
Oof.
wet. They stay wet, and with like with the waterproof socks, you can obviously do the cheaper version. You can just put bags on top of your socks, and it's still gonna be fine. But with them, you basically if your feet get wet, you just put the socks on, and then you can dry the boots whilst you're riding. Basically, the boots will dry out whilst you're riding.
Yeah, that is a good one. I know there's a lot of people here in Norway as well riding around with sealskins. I think sealskins is the most popular brand and most out there. I've never used them myself. I always wear Gore-Tex boots, and I know it's a kind of a safety thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're crazy that goes off-road or adventure riding with adventure boots because it's not stiff enough. You can break your ankles and whatnot." And yes, you can always put the stories to the far ends when it comes to safety. What is safe and what is safe enough? But for me, it's when you're going around putting up your camera every now and then, like 100 times each day with those motocross boots, it's just too stiff and uncomfortable to
Yeah.
it's kind of like a give and take. And for me, it's always been about Gore-Tex and trying to keep it as dry as possible. But it is like you say, if you get them wet, you really need to kind of use air dryers or anything to put out the vapor from them. It's
Have
crazy.
you ever gotten them wet, like whilst camping, basically, like on a camping trip where you're camping multiple days and
Yeah, I stepped. I was rigging up my camera, and I was out in the river, and I wanted to put the camera up in the river to kind of get into the camp. And there was one ditch between two rocks that I put my foot in, and that was a little bit too deep, so it went over the lining. And it was I kind of filled the boot with newspaper paper.
yeah,
Yeah, can I say that? Yeah, to kind of dry it out, and I tried to put it in the sun and whatnot, and it was wet for the whole trip, I
yeah,
think. But it was summer, so it wasn't a problem, but it
yeah,
was still wet. Mm. But
cool.
Ole Marius actually gave me a really good tip for boots. And that was putting like the libras, the things the girls use for their periods in they
Yeah,
put it in the sole to kind of suck the
the moisture out. Yeah.
yeah, it's that is that I didn't know about that. It's just like
So
it's
you put
changed
them in
everything.
whilst you're drying them, or like,
Yeah, for example, just to kind of get the moisture, and you rip it out and you put in a new one to get the
yeah,
last bits of and it can also in the cold when you get, if I use wool socks, and that kind of puts the vapor from my feet out in the boot instead of in my feet, so you kind of feel more dry. But it's easy to be cold, you can get cold, and if you want to take away those sweaty particles in your boots, just put one of those in on the sole, and
yeah,
you kind of stay warm and dry on your feet. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And you can use it when you're hunting in the winter time in Norway as well. When you're sitting on post, you get really cold on your feet.
yeah,
A lot of people use electrical how to say it, heated socks, but
yeah.
if you put one of those in, it really stays warm and
Can
comfortable.
last for like 8 hours or something. Yeah. You mean
Yeah,
you mean the chemical ones? Yeah, like basically they're like a package of.
yeah, you can use that, or you can use electricals ones. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I use them for camping actually. Like if the temperature gets pretty cold, like I have a down sleeping bag which is okay to 0 degrees Celsius.
yeah,
But usually when it gets closer to 0 degrees, then it's more on a colder side because the sleeping bag
yeah.
isn't new anymore. So yeah, and I just use those, those packages like you said, uh, they're pretty universal. You just drop them in one by your feet and one by your back, and just keeps you warm all night. And
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And I have another one that it's an absolute must-have for me, except for my coffee grinder. But but uh, a good camping chair. Even if I have my hammock or if I have my tent, to just if I want to eat lunch or if I want to stop in a place, to just because I have a prolapse in my back, just to kind of have that completely relaxed feeling when you come to camp after a day on the bike. It's a must have for me. I really need a good sit in the evening, or yeah.
yeah, I think it's a real like for me as well. Like I would say it's the same thing basically. Like camping chair is a game changer. Like you can camp pretty much anywhere. You don't have to find
Mm,
a specific camping spot with chairs or table like to feel comfortable. You can feel comfortable on the top of the mountain basically.
yeah,
Anyway, you can find nicer spots to camp. and it's so much easier to take the boots off and everything. Like you just sit down and you're like chilling.
Yeah.
And also it works really great as like basically if you sleep in a hammock, you can have a place where you put your all your clothes and everything, so you don't have to throw
Yeah.
them.
You have it a little bit over the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't
Mm.
have to put them over the ridge line or somewhere else. So you just put them on a chair and it's just
Yeah.
everything's close by. So yeah, camping chair is one thing that I really enjoy as well. And another one from me is a frying pan. Like just any like
Yeah.
small frying pan. It's just I'm so fed up with adventure food. Like I can do it. Like I just don't really like the taste and
Yeah, the freeze-dried food is
yeah.
absolutely horrible. Oh,
Just yeah, it's you can do it few days, but then like it's much more enjoyable if you have a like small 20 centimeter frying pan and you just
yeah.
cook some steak or whatever. Like this actually
Oh, yeah,
the cost like
100% agree.
in Latvia, the cost of adventure meal is the same as you would buy a steak in a shop. So, you know,
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
it's
It's
even
same in
more,
Norway as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
more
almost the same in
expensive. Like
Norway.
you can get a really nice steak and like some pre-made potatoes or whatever, and
Mm.
some
Didn't you
salad.
put up a video about that? You put in an extra screw just with the
Yeah, yeah.
handle.
The thing is, like, I had the like, because I bought another motorcycle and I didn't want to take my already like the same pan what I already have. So I basically was doing like gear for two bikes. Basically, I have all the
Yeah.
gear staying with the bike, and I thought of the like I don't want to spend like 60 or 80 euros or whatever for a frying pan for a nice camping frying pan, and I just bought a cheap pan and
Mm.
I took off the handle and I thought like there should be a way how I can attach it and I had a GoPro thingy, you know, like the little screw.
Yeah, that was the solution.
I had
Yeah.
it nearby and I just like let's check if that fits and it does fit basically. So you can remove the handle. You just have to have a I don't know if it works for any frying pan, like,
No,
but
no, but
for that one,
some of
and
them.
I
Yeah.
bought that frying pan for 5 euros, I think. Like that was the cheapest one I could get, and
Yeah.
you know it's fine for camping and cooking a few times during the trip, like, and yeah, it works and it's great. Like I will do it again. I will not buy.
Yeah, but the funny part is my little brother did the same this summer. He said it doesn't matter. He has the Trangia, the wood burner or whatever, and but there's one thing he absolutely can't live without, and that is a good frying pan
Yeah,
because you can make everything on that. You can make pasta, you can make steak, you can make whatever you want, but and you don't want it to burn. All those small thin ones that comes with the packages in like Trangia or Primus or
yeah,
Optimate or what they're called are so thin that you burn the shit out of it and they don't last for long.
yeah.
So just to have a frying pan and just ding ding, you can use it for
You can do
putting
whatever.
nails.
You can basically cook any meal what you would cook at home on a frying pan. Like you can
Yeah.
cook eggs, like anything, and just like the options open so much. Like as soon as you
And
get
I do think
started.
it's not a must have, but I think it's a really important point because going on an adventure, you should allow yourself at least one luxury item.
Yeah,
And a luxury item is individual. For someone, it's whiskey. For some, it's a extra pillow or like a frying pan. But to wake up in the morning and make yourself a proper food. For me, it's been kind of like a proper coffee and then a good breakfast. It sets the mood for the rest of the day. No matter how bad your day has been before, to start the day with a good meal and a good coffee, it just makes the whole day. And I know some people makes fun of me because I always drink that coffee, but there's so much more psychologically things into that coffee cup than people think. Because when you're out there, it's cold, it's miserable, it's condensation in the tent. You just want to go home, and
yeah,
then you get that sip of coffee, and it's just like I'm going on an adventure. You just poof turn around, and I love it. I wouldn't be without it.
yeah. And steak and beer tastes better in the mountains. Yeah, it
Oh
just
yeah, without a
really, you know,
doubt.
it's just like the tastiest steak. I like. I'm not good at cooking steaks, but it's the tastiest steak what you can cook in the mountains. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any other like must-have things in your mind? Like I think I'm out of ideas with
Yeah,
must-haves.
I don't think I have any. And everything else is just good to haves, but they're kind of like must haves. I don't have any.
Like maybe a a separate rain jacket, but that's like, I don't know. It's not
Yeah,
really.
but it's not a must have because you can use a poncho. You can stop at the store and buy a poncho just to
Yeah.
put over to keep dry. It's just like I don't feel like, or you can take plastic bags. If you have a leakage in your jacket, you can
Yeah.
just cut up a plastic bag and you have it there until you come to town. So I don't see it as a must have. I just see it as a good to have or a good tip. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, we can go to like nice to have things. Nice to have.
Oh, that is a
It
lot.
can be like, I think it can be like the things what we own or the things what we don't own but would think that would be nice to have. I
Yeah.
think like it can be like basically like things that is nice to have what we have already and like maybe we want something. So yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing about nice to haves is that every year I evaluate my luggage system and my things I pack with me, and the stuff that I didn't use, I leave it behind, and I try to find new stuff that could replace it. And I've been perfection this packaging games now for. I've been riding motorcycle for over 20 years, and I think the luggage thing has always been my game because it's part of my job to be everything on the fire truck. Everything has its own place, and it's same with my luggage system. Everything has a purpose, and everything has its own place. So I don't if I don't find my headlamp, it's because I left it at home. It's not it's lost. It's not lost in my luggage. If it is not in the correct spot, I know I either misplaced it or I lost it. So I kind of like really go down to the nitty gritty when it comes to packing.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit OCD, I think.
I'm completely opposite. Like I try to be organized. Like I'm my inner artist is
Just
going
throw
on.
it in there.
Sometimes it's just like just going. But with luggage, I usually like try to have like the same place for everything. Basically, like I pack the. I know that the sleeping bag gonna be on the lowest part of my bag on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the hammock or tent or everything. Basically, everything is on that side for camping, and then on the other side is clothing and like cooking stuff. And on top, I have everything what I need during the day. So, yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's a good system.
sometimes things can get.
Yeah, yeah. I mess it up.
Yeah,
But there's one thing I think it's nice to have. It's the smallest thing or the smallest gadget I actually have, and that is a mattress pump, an electronic mattress pump.
yeah,
Just to have you seen those pumps that are integrated in the
yeah,
you kind of doing CPR for 2 hours to get that filled. And
yeah,
you also have the one you blow up, or you have the big nozzle bags you kind of squeeze
yeah,
air into. And those works kind of good. But just to put that electrical pump in there, turn it on, and go and do other stuff, and it just inflates itself. It's just such a simple and tiny thing. And I absolutely think that is a really nice to have
yeah.
gadget, at least. Mm.
I think yeah, like I have the sleeping pad. Like I don't really sleep in tents that often. Like I do if
Okay.
there's no other option. But I prefer hammock sleeping because I just basically like that's my personal thing that I can't sleep in any other bed than at home or in a hammock. Basically,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I
Okay.
don't sleep well. I like my back hurts, and I don't know if I haven't found the right hotels or the right. Even in hotels, like I stay in a hotel and I'm just like I would rather sleep in a hammock. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
it's kind of wrong. It's different, and
yeah,
it's not uncomfortable, but it's wrong. It's not your bed or your
yeah.
preferred. I know all about it. I think
Feels
I
weird.
have the
Yeah,
same.
feels weird. And like what I was saying basically about the pumps and like um I haven't bought it yet, but like every time when I have to use a sleeping pad, I have the one what you have to blow up with your mouth, and it's just yeah, it's just terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Every time when you have to blow it up, it's just like man. And and like sometimes to have a lighter kit, like you go without the underkilt for your hammock.
Yeah.
You just take the pad in case there is no trees, you can like sleep on the ground.
Hmm.
And like this time when I went to Romania, like I just packed the underkilt and I didn't take the mattress because I know I'm just gonna go to a hotel if, in case of
Yeah.
I have to sleep on the floor. But yeah, that's a really useful gadget, I think.
Mhm.
So for me, I think like the the guy like that. I don't know if it's a must-have. Like for talking about motorcycles, I think for me, like the turn signals. I don't know if you have seen
Yeah, the Hammer lads. Yeah.
yeah, like they're great, like basically any brand, but they need to be bright. Like I had a
Mhm.
thing that happened to me in the past. Like I started to ride adventure bikes like 3 years ago, and I went on my first Trans Euro Trail trip. Basically, like I put the off-road tires. I think I did put off-road tires on my bike, but it's just the beginning. And I went on an asphalt road, and I was about to turn into a gravel road, and
Mhm.
I was showing the left turn signal and I was nearly like leaning in, and I kind of checked the mirror and looked back like the last minute, and then there was basically a car passing me on like 10 kilometers an hour, and I was like, I kind of accidentally looked at the mirror again because I already did that, and I was leaning in, and then I looked again, and it's just like car passing me, and it's like, and I after that I stopped, and I was like, my hands were like shaking, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
like, "Fuck.
that's a close call.
This is not a good start for a new hobby, like just,
No,
you
not at
just
all.
started,
It's just like, ah.
uh, maybe that's a sign I don't have to like I don't need to do this anymore. Like
Mm.
I was like I overthought all my life basically after that, and I don't know if that was like the turn signals. Like I had those, AliExpress blacked out, really cool.
Yeah,
You can't see them.
looking nice and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
doing
but
that.
you can't really see them. And after that, yeah, I'm like, firstly, like obviously, like one thing you can do is to put like better turn signals on. But the other thing
Mm.
is like I'm checking the mirrors all the time, and like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that would be like more in the must-have thing, like that.
must have. Yeah.
That would be for me, like good turn signals. Like it can be any brand, but yeah, good bright. Like the most important part is that they're bright.
Yeah, I think lighting and being visual in the traffic or what is it's really important. And I have another nice one that I actually have found myself using much more lately because it's so convenient to use, and that is the small trail jacks. You
Yeah,
hold the small aluminium so you can pitch up your rear tire if you want to spray the chain. I normally don't spray my chain with chain lube. I use how to say it, the motor saw, the what's it, chainsaws, the oil for the chainsaw
yeah,
or transmission fluid from cars. I put that on the chain just to kind of don't make it so noisy
yeah.
because it's already lubricated. I think that chain lubrication is the biggest hoax of adventure riding. It's like you create the problem and sell the solution. And yeah,
Yeah,
so
we'll get comments about this. Yeah, like
yeah, I don't, that is fine
I,
because I think it's a scam. But still, I do put oil on every now and then because when you're riding in sand or in on gravel, it
yeah,
will kind of clog up and it will make
yeah.
a little yeah nasty
Right,
noise.
and it won't.
And then jack trail is kind of you if you need to change your tire, if you
Yeah,
need to fix a flat, or if you need to lubricate your chain or check your bike, you can lift the rear tire or the front tire on the bike like super simple. It doesn't weigh anything. You don't need a center stand, and it's just been become a gadget that I have used or tool that I've used a lot lately. So
yeah.
that I also think it's a nice to have. It's not a must have. You can use rocks or you can use twigs or whatnot you find on the trails, but sometimes you can't find it or you need a saw or an axe to kind of chop down something. But that little thing, it just puts in a backpack and always have with me.
I use a strap basically, and I strap my bike to the tree. I basically lean the bike towards it.
Yeah, yeah, that is my on the side stand. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but I put it on a side stand and then strap it closer to the tree and then do it. Yeah, but I have
but if
been
you don't have any trees, what you do then?
then yeah, like you don't have flats then.
You tip it over. Yeah, yeah, I do. It's a
And
brilliant solution as
like
well.
like you would have to tip it over in that case, yeah, basically, and do it on with the
Yeah.
bike on its side. But yeah, like I can't say that out loud, but I'm pretty good with not having flat tires for
Yeah, knock
like
on wood.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
jinx it.
Like I can't say that loud, but Now I know that on my next trip I'll have to glue some
Yeah,
tires.
you really need to put it to extra
Yeah,
tools. Yeah.
we have been like like we had a situation when there's last year we went to Morocco, and
Hmm.
there was like guys who went to Morocco before us from Latvia, and we were looking at their Instagram stories, and basically they're like fixing tires all the time. And I thought, okay, like we need to prepare.
Yeah.
We went on a trip and we didn't have any flat tires. And then we went to a trip again after some other guys to Balkan countries, and they were like fixing the flats, and we had none. And it's just I
Yeah.
don't know, like what maybe I have really good karma, and I
Yeah,
think
I think
end
it's
of the
I
karma.
think it can be many things because I'm not I don't have had too much flats myself, and I do think it's opinion of how often you change the tube, what
Yeah,
tube you use in which tires, and if you have what rims you use. If you are really good on putting the rim seal, you
yeah.
have kind of like the strip in the middle that you put extra tape in so the spokes won't punch through if you get a little bit of extra pushing to it. It's I think somebody are just more lucky than others. Somebody is always having a flats when others just ride their whole career without any flats. So I
I'm
think
I'm hoping to
karma.
keep this luck
Yeah,
for
the tire gods,
me.
please let us. I had one flat when it was a little bit moisture in the air, not really raining, but it was driplets in the forest of Sweden, and it was mosquito hell like you wouldn't believe. And I didn't have a bug net, so I couldn't kind of get away from the bugs.
Yeah.
And I have never in my whole life been so angry and pissed off. I would burn down the forest in rage because it was just messing so bad with my head you wouldn't believe it. Trying to change a tire when everything just doesn't go as planned is
Yeah.
a pain.
Yeah.
So, and that brings me to another topic: a little mosquito net in your pack, just in case. That is valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, that
Like,
is nice to have.
yeah, I think this is the thing that you don't appreciate until you need it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
without a
have it
doubt.
in my bag. I probably will not put it in my bag. But like, if I had a situation like you did, like, that would be in my bag straight away.
Yeah, and then and the bugs, especially the mosquitoes. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but the mosquitoes are really attracted to me. Like if you are a group of friends sitting around a bonfire, they always bite me, not the others. It's just like crazy. And when you are in a situation where you need to set up your tent or take down your tent, and it's mosquito heaven, it's just like you need to get out of the zone of being bitten or else you're gonna lose your mind. It's just absolutely horrific. It's just no, bring a mosquito net. That is
Okay.
a golden tip.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, that's a must have if you, yeah. But you always think about things like that after the event. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, you
you have to
learn the
experience
hard
it
way.
yourself. Yeah, you have to experience it yourself. I had the thing with the hammock as well, similar. That I didn't take the mosquito net for the hammock on a trip
Yeah.
because we were riding in the mountains. We were riding in the mountains. It was October, and so there wouldn't be any bugs. There was no bugs at all during the trip,
Mm.
except like the one last day when we stayed at the Albanian beach. Basically, like
Oh,
the beach. We stayed
yeah,
at the
the
beach,
sandflies and
and they were like crazy. Like it was quite hot during the night, and I was covering my face with a sleeping bag, and it's just
mm.
hot, and you have to take it off, just
Oh,
breathe, and just yeah.
I started itching just talking about it. It's
After
just
that, the bug
absolute.
net is with me all the time. Like, but
Yeah.
before that, I thought like as most of my camping trips are during the off season, not during the summer. So it's I don't really need them because the bugs are gone in Latvia, and in the mountains
Mm.
they're not there usually. And thought, why do you actually need a bug net until that one time that I will
Yeah.
need it now. I will take it now. I don't want a night like that after. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
So any other like nice to have things in your list? I think.
Oh, I would probably say that everything I own is nice to have, but that is based on my experience. And I think the most nice to haves are based on your own experience. So when you start traveling and you start, even if it's small or long trips, you will uh, understand that nice to haves are really, really individual. And funny thing is, I just started reading the Ted Simon book, Jupiter, Travel to Jupiter. No, what's the Dreaming of Jupiter is one book, but the other is 2 seconds. Yeah, Jupiter Travels.
Yeah,
It's a book by Ted Simon. He's probably the godfather of all adventure tripping, and he started doing a year-round trip in the 70s, 74 or something. And in the beginning of the book, you read how he really trying to plan everything out down to the smallest details on map, on visas, on papers, on passports, and whatnot, and everything is kind of like down to the centimeters on his bike on how it packs. And then the journey begins, and then everything just goes all in all direction. You cannot plan for the unplanned.
yeah,
So I think that the nice to haves are based on experience. For a guy like Pavlin, the one you had on your show the other time,
yeah,
he rode to Magadan. He's going to take a trip to Southern America or what it is.
yeah. He's going
He
around
with
all the
Yeah,
continent.
and he with his experience and his knowledge has completely different nice to haves than probably I would,
Yeah.
because he have so much experience on what he really need and what is just nice to have and whatnot. So yeah.
I think, yeah, it will be very different from person to person. I think the best way how to find your must-haves and nice-haves is basically like just to ride, and then you basically buy whatever you need. Like go on a camping trip, basically buy the cheapest tent or the cheapest thing, and you will find out that you don't like that, or maybe you like it. Like
Yeah.
I have a friend who's like he's going on the trips like with me, and he has the cheapest tent from Decathlon and like just a cheap sleeping bag and mattress and whatever, and he's fine. He said like it's good, you know.
Yeah.
You don't
But
need
it's
it,
of course
but
like for you
person.
or your friend or whatever, you have one limit of what is good enough and what is acceptable when it comes to freezing, when it comes to comfort and whatnot. For me, that has a sore back. I have prolapse in my back.
Yeah,
There's nothing more important than having a good night's sleep.
yeah,
And so I rather invest more in a good sleeping pad and a sleeping bag, because I know that if I don't get proper sleep, I don't have a good trip. But
yeah.
that can change. Somebody like my little brother, he can sleep on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter. I just need a pillow for his head and it's okay. I can't do that. My back would be completely gone.
Yeah.
So I think learning by doing, get out there, fail, because you will fail. You will lose your temper. You will lose your motivation.
You
Go
have to
back.
fail. Have to fail to find.
Exactly. Absolutely agree.
I think like whilst we're talking, I just realized few more like things that would be nice to have. One is like talking about the tires, the compressor, like air compressor. It's a
Yeah.
nice to have thing. Like it's not a must have. You can still use like a regular pump, or if you have a flat, you can somehow get someone else's
Yeah.
pump, or like find people or walk to the nearest petrol station or whatever. Basically, there is so many other ways how to do it. But yeah, compressor is really nice to have thing, and heated grips for a motorcycle. But
Yeah.
I think they are nice to have, not a must have, because now on my trip to Romania, I don't use heated grips. I didn't put on that bike heated grips because
Mm-hmm.
electricity and I need to charge some devices. So I didn't want to like charge too many things or use too many electronics at the same time. I just put on those, those gloves. They're like,
Oh yeah, the mammoth thing. Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah,
rhino things, or what they called.
there is right, yeah, Ryan, yeah, basically, I got them from 24MX, like the
Yeah, that
14
store. Yeah.
euros something, and I had them already for many years since I had
Oh.
like MX
It's
bike.
quite popular here in Norway on winter riding. The guys
Yeah,
that ride enduro bikes in the winter all have those kind
yeah.
of to cover
And it's
hands. But
great for
that
the
is
road.
actually a really good point, because here in the northern countries, we because of heated gear, of course, I always have said that heated grips are a must-have on your bike. The only problem with heated grips is, of course, it takes up a little bit of space on your handlebar, and you really need those places where the heating is. And there's different brands. And on my latest bike, I bought a brand called Daytona. They are really warm. They have a button inside the grip. But the problem with that one is that every time you stand up riding, you press the button, so it turns on and off all the time when it's hot and you really don't want them to be used. And I found that when I'm riding, it's not that often I need heated grips. And now in the latest years, the heated gloves has become really, really good. And it's rain gloves with heated stuff in, and the batteries that comes with them is now possible to charge with USB-C. So that makes it much easier to charge on the go as well. Not like you need that big lump of thing you put into the wall to kind of charge the batteries like you did before. So this year or next year, I'm actually going to put much more. I'm going to invest in a good heating gloves instead of heated grips, because the times I really need heated grips are not that often. And heated grips and rain gloves. Yeah. If you put on heated grips when it rains, the Gore-Tex turns, so you get the water inside the glove instead of outside, keeping it outside. So that is also something to be aware of. If you're running with heated grips, the membrane.
Gloves, yeah. Oh, that's
because the membrane is working like it goes both ways. So the warmer side will transport keep water outside from the colder side. But if you are warmer outside and colder inside, the water will seep through.
Yeah.
That is so I think I'm going to try heated gloves instead this year.
So Gore-Tex doesn't work with heated grips then? Yeah.
It can fail.
That's a new thing for me.
You should try it.
Yeah, because I personally never really use Gore-Tex. Like I do use it for like walking and hiking and things like that. But for motorcycles, because the things get muddy for me. Usually, like if I ride off-road somewhere, they basically the Gore-Tex membrane it gets full with like dust, I think, and it doesn't work that well, and it starts to leak. Like I had that with like my boots happen. Not with like leather riding boots, but with like hiking boots, and so
that can be an issue. But also imagine the lining. This is a little bit off course, but still, I think it's an important topic because Gore-Tex is like a thin membrane, and to make that membrane sealed in a glove with so many fingers and so many stitches and whatnot, it's really easy because a glove is always stretching and compressing all the time. So it's really easy for the seams to get a little bit loose, and then it will sieve through. So in small rain or drizzles, heated grips and Gore-Tex glove isn't normally a problem. But if it's really pouring down, really raining, it will get wet. And the best way to try this out is to put 2 buckets of water, one with hot water and one with cold water. And you take the Gore-Tex glove on your hand and you dip it in cold water first and stay there for a couple of minutes. And then you take it out, dry on your hand, and do the same with the hot water. And see how long you can
I need to try.
Try it. You will see that the membrane will reverse and it will seek through water.
Yeah, this is the thing that I will probably try in a bathtub with my boots.
But it's quite simple and genius in the same way. But I think a lot of people, like you say, like dust gets into the membrane, and like a lot of people wear Klim suits or Moto gear, or you have Gore-Tex, you have Event, you have different membranes of the different clothing, and I hear people online say that, oh, I had this suit, Gore-Tex suit, for 4 years and I never washed it and it still keeps me dry. And that is just stupid, because a Gore-Tex membrane and a membrane in general needs to be washed because you don't want like the small dust to get into the membrane, because then it would leak. So that has been waterproof for 4 years without washing it is just luck. It doesn't has anything to do. You want to wash your Gore-Tex layers. You need to wash them regularly.
Yeah.
So that is also a tip.
Basically cleans out cleans out the particles so it can
Yeah.
breathe, do the work.
Exactly. So yeah.
So continuing on, basically don't need or overrated gadgets. What do you think are your
Everything. Everything in the adventure community is overrated. It's become the biggest selling point in the whole industry. Adventure is kind of the new how to say it, the
mainstream?
new thing in town.
Yeah, it's like you can see that with bike sales as well. Like all the adventure bikes are now mainstream, like the main models of
Oh
the
yeah. And
man.
it's become a trend, and I understand it because it's so everybody can use and have fun on an adventure bike. If you go down the street, if you go off road, doesn't matter. Adventure bikes are the thing to go for. It's comfortable, it's everything. But we have come to a point where we are so focused on what we wear, how we look, and how correct everything needs to be, instead of going on adventures. So they have taken adventure out of adventure and put a marketing thing on it. So in general, you can ride around the world on a Vespa scooter.
Yeah.
But you think you need a brand BMW, or you need a new Tenere 700. And I think it's also a part of being a gadget guy. You really feel like you need the latest and greatest to get there, or to do that, or to go more off-road. But that's not the case.
Yeah, that's I totally agree. That's like basically like we can always buy things, like that's more like a want. I want things,
Yeah.
like we all want things, and you see those pretty pictures on Instagram as well, like people traveling to places. Like I think Instagram kind of helps with all of this quite a lot as well, like because you can
Oh,
see.
YouTube as well. I'm guilty of the same thing.
Yeah, like you see other people like going somewhere and you see like he's somewhere in, I don't know, somewhere exotic, basically, somewhere in Morocco. He's in
Yeah.
Morocco and he's riding with that bike and he's riding with that thing. And
Mm.
I like, so your brain kind of tells you like to go to Morocco, you need to get that thing and that thing and that thing, and then you can go to Morocco.
Yeah.
But in the end, you can
But
actually just like fly to Morocco and rent a Himalayan and go barefooted or
yeah,
whatever.
but I think that is a little bit of the scare tactics of the society, because we are kind of brainwashed into believing that we need this or that to do this or that. And it should be the different way around. It should be, we go on this and that, and we need this to do it. Or you kind
Yeah.
of need to switch your mindset a little bit. And I think that, like you say, if you go online today and you say you ride a motorcycle without protection, then you're gonna bash it. Have you seen the video with Fortnite where he talks about level 2 and 3 protection on the
You mean that
elbows?
6 minute one take video? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, that's
incredible. Yeah. But what he actually saying in that video,
amazing.
compared to what the comment section is all about, people didn't understand what he said. He just saying that um, level 2 and 3 protection isn't necessarily so safe that you are led to believe.
Yeah.
And I do think that uh, we are nobody is safe in a 100-kilometer crash, no matter what protection you wear. Yes, if you slide down the highway in a racing suit, you are probably better off than if you wear shorts and a hoodie. But it's depending on how you're riding, what you ride with, using a helmet, not using gloves, using shoes. We are so focused on how stupid people are that do not put all the safety measure that you have told yourself that is needed for you to be safe. It's like, I'm a firefighter and I can ask a guy, how many smoke detectors do you have in your own house? We know that those are the only things that really save life that people have at home, that is smoke detectors. And how many do you have? Do you have 2? Do you have 3? Do you have 8? Why not one in every room? Because what is safe and what is safe enough, dependent on your trauma, what you have been through, if you experience a fire or whatnot. And I think it's the same thing with motorcycles as well. if you have been in a crash or in an accident and you smashed your elbow, you would probably use more elbow protection than a guy who hasn't done that. Or if you hurt your knees in an off-road accident or whatnot. I think that a lot of the things are based on brainwashing from their marketing thing, and we are led to believe that we do need the lightest, the greatest, and to have a good adventure. But on that as well, I just want to say that in the camping industry and in the motorcycle industry, lighter is more expensive. And for me, that has been riding a lot. I understand the value and comfort of having a lighter tent, a smaller tent. It packs smaller. I fit it into my bag, and I rather use more money to have a smaller setup than spending less and have a big setup. And that is just personal preference. But I don't want to say that you need to do the same. But I can afford it. I want to afford that because I see that as a thing I want.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I think I agree to you, and I think like with gearing up with like motorcycle gear, like like you can be safe, like you can be safe with like the basics, like the cheapest jacket, you can be safe, and with like really expensive, like really heavy duty jacket, you can be a bit more safe, like
Yeah.
it isn't that huge, but like in terms of money wise, it can be huge. And the other thing is that you can become like a turtle, walking turtle
Yeah.
so if you use like you can use the like the body armor underneath your jacket and everything, and you can and and when you're like that, like when you're overpacked with like the safety equipment, you can't really focus on riding as well. So you're not able to move around as easily,
Yeah.
and yeah, and that I think like the most safest thing is to be safe and like look analyze the situation, like think ahead of time, like try to like think what will happen on the road or like going off road, and just look forward and see the like possible dangers, and
Yeah.
yeah, try to be
I would,
self.
if you live in a safe environment, if you live in a town with like say a low speed limit, and you know the road going down to the shop is quite safe, I would say that everyone should jump on their bikes in Crocs, shorts, and t-shirt and a helmet,
Yeah.
and just see how you feel. Do you feel naked? Do you feel uncomfortable? Perfect. You should be. Put on gear that is enough for you to feel safe. Because if you feel too safe, you start losing concentration on what's important in traffic. So I think it's a matter of this is also a highly individual thing, but I think that we need to be safe enough so we can withstand a slide on the tarmac or whatnot. But I've seen people extremely hurt in an accident with a racing suit and all the latest greatest gear, and I've seen people in shirt and jeans and helmet survive a crash with just small bruise. So it's an accident is never the same, and you can be really lucky or you can be unlucky. So I think that everything around this, with we have people today who ride on gravel road and fire roads looking like they're going to attend the Dakar rally. They have goggles, they have helmet, they have the latest and greatest, the jerseys and whatnot. And I think it's just as much as looking cool, being accepted into the adventure scene has been more about grouping up, being the cool guys, more than just accepting everyone for being who they are and enjoying adventures. I think we see a shift now in the community where we go from everybody who was a traveler is an adventurer to being everybody who rides that bike is that sort, and everybody who have those clothing are that group. So we kind of have the small groupings inside the community.
Yeah.
I think it's silly, but I think it's just part of evolving in what we do.
Yeah. That's the thing, yeah. Like there's a KTM groups, and yeah, like you
Don't you dare coming to a rally with a Harley Davidson or like the wrong bike, then everybody looks strange at you. But it shouldn't be about that.
and I
As
think
long as you're on the road.
you kind of attach the certain riding image to a certain bike, like
Yeah.
if you ride Tenere, you're more relaxed probably, like than KTM 890 or 990 or something like that. And but yeah, it's not always the truth. Like get your bike, like ride how you want to, and like it can be completely different, you know, like you don't have to
Yeah,
stick to a certain image or yeah, I think as there is Black Friday coming up, you know, like soon
yeah.
next week there is Black Friday. Do you have anything in your cart for like any gadgets?
Oh Jesus Christ! I have so many. Here in Norway, we have we call it the price hunt. I think that is the easiest way to translate it in English. Here in
Yeah.
Norway, is prisjakt, but in English we say price hunt. So there is one site that can monitorize prices of different things, and I always put in tech gadgets like cables, SSDs, memory cards, cameras, all that kind of equipment into a chart, and I see when the prices drops, I get notification on email. I actually just got 3 emails when we have this chat now on prices that is lowering. So uh, actually, one of the things that I'm looking into, it's not motorcycle related, but still video related. It's a slider to have a little bit more cinematic. Need to see if that could help or is it completely rubbish. And I do have a pair of new gloves, motorcycle gloves,
Yeah, what gloves are you getting?
heated gloves.
Heated gloves. Oh, you're getting
Yeah,
heated. Okay.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to say any brands or anything because I don't want it to be brand specific. I don't want it to be
Yeah.
about a brand or people think that I have it. But I want to try out different types to
But you're
see what
buying
fit
these.
my.
But you're buying these gloves, yeah? Or
Yeah,
you're. Yeah.
I
Well,
think a lot of.
you can say it. I need some recommendations so I can put it in my phone.
I can send it in an email to you or
Okay.
yeah whatever. It's all about because I think that a lot of people, but just because I'm on YouTube and I have a channel there, a lot of people think that everything I get is for free or you're sponsored or having partnership with the brands, and most of the stuff I turn down and I buy it for myself because I don't want any commitment to. For nothing is for free. Everything I get for free here in Norway, you need to put up as income, so you need to pay taxes. So if you want to send me something for free, I need to pay tax for it. So yeah, some stuff I really just want to find out for myself is good enough, and if it's a good brand that I really like and I want to have spent money on, I can
Yeah.
contact them and see if we can work together. But yeah, and I also have I really want a new action camera as well, just to have one kind of facing me and one from the rear. And I've always been a GoPro guy, but I saw the latest video from a guy down in Australia with the new Osmo Action 5, and it's really
That
hard.
video comparing three cameras at the same time.
No,
What?
no, no. This is just an adventure rider. He didn't focus so much on video quality. It's more how easy the Mic 2 was connecting to the Osmo Action and how insanely good sound was on his riding footage. It was just like mind blowing. And I think that is going to revolutionize the adventure video scene. Is how well, because all picture quality today is really good, and I think sound is the new era where we're going to
Yeah.
see a big change in production quality. So I might look into that now when Black Friday is coming in.
How is like you said like the connections for the sound, it's easier in some sort of way, yeah?
Yeah, because the DJI Osmo Action 5 and the DJI Mic 2
Yeah.
connect through Bluetooth in just a couple of seconds. It's just like at an instant. So every time you turn on the camera, the microphone detect the camera and you start using the sound from the microphone. So you can put the microphone, turn it on, put it in your backpack. I think it has battery for 7 or 8 hours.
Okay.
And then you just shoot with your camera like you would normally. And every time you shoot with your camera, it picks up noise from your backpack. So you get much more of that growling sound from the engine and from the exhausts.
Okay, yeah.
And just every time you come to lunch or stop, you just change the microphones over to the next one.
So for the like in camera, in helmet talking videos, basically you can put the mic somewhere in your helmet and
Yeah.
you don't have to use any yeah, like with
I
GoPro.
haven't tried it myself, but like I don't vlog, but kind of to have more engine sound, more rough sound from the riding itself. I think that will put more into the experience, more than picture quality would benefit me.
Yeah, because GoPro is kind of quite difficult to get. Like you have to get the media mod, then your GoPro is not waterproof anymore. It kind of is, but isn't. Like you
Yeah,
can,
but that is if you're vlogging, yeah.
yeah, if you need like in helmet
Yeah.
videos, basically, then you have to attach a lavalier mic. There can be like there's obviously the mic can go wrong. The like
Mm.
had that for my GoPro before as well. That the media mod died. I changed over many like lavalier mics. I thought like it's their fault, and you just yeah. As soon as you attach another thing to another thing, it's just another breaking point. And if you
Yeah, yeah. And with all the vibration, the dust and the rain and everything, it's always like it's a really harsh condition for technical things.
yeah.
Like you say on your iPhone, put it on the handlebar of your bike and the camera will be all jittery. And it's
But the stabilization, yeah, basically the inner
yeah,
stabilization.
the gimbal and
I've had it happen to my phone as well.
yeah,
Uh,
me as well.
yeah, but yeah, like like the waterproofness for the things as well. Like for GoPro, like as soon as you put the media mod on, it's not as waterproof.
Yeah.
I don't think if it does count waterproof at all. And then when you're riding somewhere in the rain or somewhere like yeah, or dust doesn't help.
Dust is even worse actually. And if you get dust and then a little bit of rain, it just it's not good.
Actually, recently I found out that that tablet that I'm using for navigation, it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like Samsung Galaxy Active Tab, something like Active Tab. That sounds like it should be waterproof. And I was washing that with pressure washer. Like I had some dust on it, and I was riding in the rain and everything, and yeah, and I found out in Romania that it isn't even as waterproof as iPhone or like any other mobile phone. It just basically has like a little plastic cover with like one rubber sealing around,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really no that basically that thing isn't waterproof at all. So yeah.
That is a hard way to learn that, isn't
And
it?
like it works now. Like I tried it out. It works, but I don't know if it's gonna work for a long time or when it's gonna like give up. But yeah, I had like I was basically going to park my motorcycle near Bucharest,
Mm-hmm.
and right when I arrived in Bucharest, like the navigation died. So I had to
Oh.
stop. I didn't want to use my phone because the stabilization can die.
Mm.
But in the end, I had to just zip tie the phone to the
Yeah.
basically somewhere to the tablet mount and go last kilometers to find it because I
But
had to basically stop and remember where I need to go. And it was such an
yeah.
old school that you basically have to stop, remember, oh, okay, two turns, then you'd have to turn left, and then you kind of remember three steps ahead. And I
Yeah.
got lost.
That's so yeah, but I just want to put that out there as well. Yes, I there are many brands. I just have to say disclaimer, I work with Peak Design, but Peak Design has a mobile mount that is vibration cushioning,
Yeah.
and this is the new charging mount that you can connect via cable. But uh, you have quad lock, you have Peak Design, you have different ones with the vibration cushion. And I've used this now for 1 year with my iPhone 15 Pro, and it has been absolutely no issue with the camera at all. So if you get the right mount, you will not have a problem with destroying your phone with vibration, because this is yeah, it takes off the vibration. It
But
worked.
how is it with the RAM mounts as well? Like I heard people have had problems with the like the camera dying basically, even with the anti.
with vibration mounts.
Yeah, yeah, even with that.
Yeah,
Like I
it could
haven't tried it
probably be.
myself. I don't know.
I think it depends a little bit on what engine you run as well and how hard you run it, because some motorcycles produce more micro vibration than others. Like the small thumpers would of course vibrate in a different way than a Ducati or yeah. So maybe it's up to what bike you ride. I'm not sure, but for me on the Tenere, it has worked flawlessly so far, and it's been over a year now. No, soon a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that they're making the mounts for phones for motorcycles. I know the company because of the photography. Like there's
Yeah.
yeah, but I never knew like
Yeah, yeah.
knew from
That
yeah.
is absolutely amazing. And it's just like magnetic click and it's locked in and it's just release. It's absolutely, you should check them out. It's absolutely brilliant.
I will. So I think we have some questions as well. Let me check on my Instagram. Oh,
Oh
there.
yeah, you put out that link. Yeah,
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 but
cool.
like I done it really last minute, like last night.
Yeah, but
But there is two. Yeah, I think there's two. Okay, first one, it's Arvids. I think you know the guy. You met him.
Arvid, yeah, he probably has a hard question just to set me out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. How does
bring it.
how does one ride off-road with bold tires? I don't know. Oh, never
Uh,
mind. Okay, never mind.
yeah, that is actually a really good point. But if you go slow enough, it doesn't matter what tires you have.
Yeah. So, and there's another one, Dutch Minion and her bike. Not really,
Diana,
yeah, not really a question, but a challenge for Thomas. Would love to challenge him for a winter ride.
that's not going to happen. I absolutely hate freezing, and riding in the winter time is just not going to happen. I'm not gonna. But the fact is that Diana, she's a Patreon of mine, and she's been following me for a while, and she's an absolutely lovely lady. She does a lot of volunteer work for different events in Europe and whatnot. And we have a thing going on because down in the Netherlands or Dutch Netherlands, yeah, there's much warmer condition or climate than it is in Norway. So when there are snow and ice out here, she has riding condition down with her, and she always makes sure to send me a picture every now and then when she's out riding, and I absolutely hate it. And I can't hide it. It's just like the way it is. But I do not ride in winter. I think it takes away the joy for me.
Have you tried riding with studded tires?
No, not properly. Yes, on a farmland or gravel pit,
Yeah.
but not properly.
Obviously, you can't go anywhere far during the winter. You just have to stay locally. But
Yeah,
it's so much fun with like studded tires. They stick to the ground much better. Like I haven't
yeah,
put them on a adventure bike. I had them on my motocross bike, and like
yeah.
the same track. And the track in the summer it's more slippery than it actually is like when it's icy in the winter because you have
It's
this
crazy, huh? Yeah,
traction is, and if you go on a lake, you have such a speed and you're going into the corner and you think I'm just gonna die here, but it
yeah,
just sticks. It's just like you lean in and it sticks, and your brain just basically like it's such a weird feeling because your brain kind of thinks like this not gonna
yeah.
be good, but it just works out somehow. It just magic some.
Yeah, there's a town here in Norway where there's a known place where they do ice uh, riding on a lake or what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah, it has to be a big lake, but they ride cars there, but they also ride motorcycle there with really studs on the tires. And
yeah.
I always wanted to try it, but it's always so damn cold, and you really need to. So I haven't got the time for it yet, but I really hope I can try it one year just to test it out like properly, like you say, on a lake.
The thing is, like when you start to ride, the adrenaline kicks in, and you get warmer. Like you are warm whilst you ride.
Mm,
I used like when I used to ride in the winter with a motocross bike. You get so warm that you just ride in the armor and jersey. Basically, like you
yeah,
use the jacket at the beginning, and then you take it off because it's too hot. Basically, because you're moving around all the time, and I have
it's almost like riding skis and stuff. Also, yeah.
yeah. And I have two more questions, but they're in Latvian. I will have to translate them somehow, reading out. So um, maybe we can talk about lights, which would be between 10 to 20 watts, and they're not flashing or something like that. So basically, like, like auxiliary lights. Basically,
Yeah,
can we talk about auxiliary lights? Do you have
yeah,
any?
yeah.
Yeah, you have some. I don't have any opinion. I only have like a cheap AliExpress once on my Dominator, and I use them twice.
Yeah,
So
I actually started because of my mountain bike I got last year. And it's becoming dark in Norway now, and a lot of the season uh, there is not snow, but it's cold enough to not ride your motorcycle, and ice on the not ice, salt on the road, so it fucks up your motorbike or damage your motorbike. Sorry for the language, but um, so I found out that I want to ride in the dark. So I had to put on a good flashlight or headlamp on lighting on my bike, and I start investigating different headlamps and whatnot, lumens. And I bought a new car with 1,000 meters, or what's it called, in the front of the car. And I started to understand that more light is better. More light is always better if you ride in the dark. But when I'm riding my adventure bike, I always set camp before darks kicks in. If I'm out riding, I set up camp before nightfall. So I never ride in pitch dark or in dark condition, because of there's a much bigger risk of hitting animals that are on the fields and crossing roads and whatnot in the early mornings or in the late nights. So for me, I do not need extra light on my motorcycle. For me, it's just extra weight, and I don't see the point. But if you do a lot of traveling or riding when it's dark, without a doubt, that's one of the first thing I would buy on my bike.
Yeah.
Because it's safety.
But you don't have any on your ones, no? On your bike?
No, not extra, not anything, just the normal headlights on my bike.
Yeah. I don't have either as well. Like I think 10 hours light is good enough for the moments when you like need it. I personally don't try to ride during the night. Most of the time I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can. Obviously, there is situations when you have to. It's kind of it's good enough. Like on my Dominator, I have that. I put on those auxiliary lights because the light is basically just a candle. Basically, you can't see anything during the night with that bike.
Yeah.
And so I put some auxiliary lights, but they help a bit, but not much.
Yeah,
Like,
I had a BMW 1200 GSA, the big Rhino, and I was going down Finland, down to the Baltic countries, and I went to Poland, and we were hit by a severe rainstorm. It was just like crazy, and me and a group were kind of torn apart because of the big storm. It was raining so much, it was really hard to stay on the road. So I just had come so far before I understand that I had lost the guys. So I just pushed through it because it was even worse to turn around, and they stay behind. So I just thought, okay, forget it. I'm just going to ride to the German border. And it was pitch dark. It wasn't, and it was kind of like really raining. So I didn't have a hard time seeing the road. And there was this extra auxiliary lights on the crash bars. But even with that, it wasn't enough. It wasn't good. And when I came to the German border, the raining stopped. And I thought, now I'm so far, I can continue a little bit on the Autobahn going towards Denmark. So I continued, and on the Autobahn in that speed with no lights and just a little motorcycle lights, it was just absolutely horrific because there's so many crossing animals there.
yeah.
Thankfully, I found a convoy with trucks with really good lighting. So I just jumped in between two trailers and I stayed there in much slower speed till I got to a nearest town. And I do think that if you want extra light on your bike, if you ride in the winter or something, you should really invest in really good lighting, not just the extra auxiliary lights. I think there's a lot of good brands on the market. I don't know the name of everyone, but I know there are some really good lumen lights out there. So yeah.
But they all are not street legal as well. Like if you want like really good lights,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
they're not street legal. Like there is some limitation how bright the light can be, and you can get some aftermarket lights, like the main headlight. Basically, you can change it. Which some of them they are street legal, but the best ones like they're not street legal.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought about that, but yeah, that is also a good point. You really need to find out if it's legal, and if it's legal into the country you are going to travel to as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you're going through Germany, there's many things like you have to.
Ooh, yeah, Germany and France are crazy this time.
I had no problem with my KTM 690, which is like there is many things which wasn't street legal, like the exhaust and things like that. But yeah, but I didn't know that.
Of course, of
That's why
course.
that's why
I had no idea.
I had no idea that I can't do that there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you have to keep in mind, like if you're traveling somewhere, that keep the bike maybe more stock. Like
Mm.
if you're going to Germany, like if you go somewhere to Morocco, they don't care at all.
No,
Like,
no, no.
and
But still, I think it's possible. You always should respect the foreign laws in the countries you're visiting. Be a good ambassador. Always play on the rules of the countries you are visiting.
another
Bring
question
it. Shoot.
about like riding in the winter, riding in the winter.
Yeah, of course. I have no experience.
What gloves? Not what gloves. What eye protection? Basically, like goggles or like visor or what to use. Apparently there is basically in this question there is heated visors for helmets. I
Yeah,
didn't know
I've
that's
seen
a
that.
thing.
Yeah.
I
There's
didn't know.
kind of like like you see on the rear of the windscreen on the cars. You have those heated the lines going through
Yeah,
the so you kind of turn that on, and I've seen that it's kind of like around the pin lock in a way, so it prevents it from fogging up or freezing. And I see there's a lot of people using goggles, but you will sweat. The heat from your eye socket will go out and fog it down. So, uh, and I have been doing some. I did do some diving in my earlier age, and you diving in the winter time was always better because you had much clearer visibilities in the ocean. But of course, the water was freezing. So you kind of can put some. You can spit in your visor, or you can put some liquid into it to make it not fog as much. You can
yeah.
even use dishwasher soap on the outside just to wipe it off. And but I have no clue. I've never ride in winter. I don't ride in winter. I don't want to ride in winter. So to get experience for it, you need to talk with the people who actually does it. Because for me, it's just what I've seen online. I have no experience with it myself.
Yeah, from my experience, like I never used anything else than like just a helmet with a pin lock, just with a normal. I think the pin
Yeah.
lock, like a normal helmet, not a motocross helmet with the goggles. Motocross helmet with goggles with two lenses, like with a double lens, they
Mm.
work. I think they work better, but I prefer the way when you just close the windshield, you pack down the chin, the
Yeah.
little
The chin curtain. Yeah.
use the chin curtain and use the skiing mask as well. So it's warmer in a way. And I think like for me, it kind of works most of the time when I need it, but I never really ride like in minus degrees for a long time. I have done
Mm.
it with like just you go riding with basically with studded tires, but I think then I just used regular goggles. And
Okay.
riding somewhere close to 0 degrees, then just the pin lock have been fine for me.
Yeah.
Without the pin lock,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, it's horrible without the pin lock in those conditions. But with the pin lock, you can kind of, or you can just open up a little gap here and try to breathe through your nose and breathe. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah. You, that is a good tip,
birth.
actually. Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's all from the questions. And the one last thing, basically, what's the plan for you for next year?
Oh, my plan is to start off in the Norwegian Motorcycle Expo in March. And there is a motorcycle expo in Stockholm. AGP Nordics, good friends of ours, AGP, Christian and Petra, is throwing together a adventure expo as well. Much smaller, but I think it can be a good thing in the years to come. And then me and Robert and Matthias, the Nordic ADV TV guys, are going to do a couple of stunts. And I'm going to try to have a trip in the springtime for my own solo trip. And we are heading to Romania in the end of summer. And I know there's some gravel courses and stuff I will attend in the summertime. So it will be a busy year. And of course, it's Autouro in September.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just have to see how far we get and how much. And of course, I get a new bike this season, and there's a lot of things happening. So I just think I'm going to spend as much time as I can on the road and just enjoy.
Yeah. Did you already get a new bike or you're getting a new bike?
No, I'm getting the new rally, the Tenere 700 Rally 2025. So I do think it's here in March or something.
Cool, 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 cool. And talking about the solo, you mentioned you're going on a solo trip. Where are you going?
Well, I really hate to say it because I feel like I'm committed to something, but I'm not. I'm going. Um, I'm going down south. I'm not going. It's on the continent of Europe. Yeah. I don't want to say it too much because then I feel like if I don't make it, I disappoint somebody. So I
Yeah.
try to just avoid telling. I just say that I'm going on a trip. I'm not sure quite where it is yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the trips, like I usually like I tell people that I'm planning to go to, like when I tell someone that I'm going somewhere, like there's always something happening that I can't go. Basically, like
Yeah.
I told like I had a plan to go with Arvids and two other guys to Turkey, and the firstly the plan was to go there in spring. Didn't work out. Then like this autumn
So, so typical.
didn't work out, and then by the Auduro Scout I thought like I'm not gonna go anywhere, like I'm staying in Latvia this year, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. And then somehow I sold my other like KTM 690, and there was a bike on sale like on the Gumtree type website for really cheap, and I thought like okay, and then I checked the prices for flights from Romania. There was like 52 euros flight back home, so it's like, oh man, this is a sign. I have to
This
go.
is a sign, yeah, without a doubt. But I think it's cool to just show that life is a dynamic thing like that. Because when you have family, you have a wife at home or whatnot, and you have family members, of course, and everything can just happen. And it
Yeah,
doesn't fit your schedule. It's okay because we have enough time. We can do it later. We can do it next year. And it's a part of dreaming. Dream big, go small. Just have just enjoy it. Because I feel a little bit of the pressure from social media because since I've been traveling so much in Norway and being local in Norway and Sweden because of family situation and everything, everybody expect me to go on that grand trip or that big adventure going around the world, but I can't do that quite yet. And I feel a little bit of the I want to impress the audience as well a little bit, and for my
yeah,
own sake, I really want to go on a much longer and further away trip. But that will happen all in due time. But my life and work and everything else has to be aligned properly before I can do it.
yeah. Okay, so no pressure. We're waiting for the grand trip out.
Thank you, thank you. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I
So
do.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
thank you for talking to me. And yeah, we'll
Absolutely a pleasure. It's
get
so
to
nice to see you again, and we should
see you.
hook up much often. It's
And I hope
absolutely,
I'm gonna see you during the Outdoor Scout this year.
yeah. And if you ever head to Scandinavia, you know you have a place to stay.
Cool, cool.
Yeah. Take care, mate. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And a huge thank you to you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did making it. And if you did, please press subscribe or just check out my channel and look at the other podcast episodes what I have there. And we'll see you at the next one, hopefully. Bye.